Hi, it's Missy from Farmhouse.com, and today I'm going to talk to you about bonding agent and how to determine if you need it or if you don't need it when you're using this mustard seed milk paint. So one of the most common questions that people ask me when they're using milk paint is, do I need to use bonding agent or not? And what I do when they ask me that question is I ask them two questions. The first one is, what surface are you painting on? And the second question is, what look do you want to get? Do you want a chippy look or do you want a look that's not chippy? A perfectly finished look. So based on those two questions, it's kind of easy to determine whether or not they need to use bonding agent. So in case you don't know what bonding agent is, bonding agent is an additive that can be added to Miss Mustard Seeds milk paint to help the paint adhere to a surface that it otherwise might not adhere to very well. So what I have is a few little items here that I'm going to talk to you about and show you how I would determine whether to use bonding agent when I was painting them. So the first thing is this unfinished Corbel. It's brand new, it just came out of the package, so I know it doesn't have any oil spots or anything like that on it that might make the paint not stick. So as a general rule, if you're painting unfinished wood with milk paint, you do not need to use bonding agent. Milk paint is kind of at its best on unfinished wood. It absorbs into the wood and gives you a beautiful finish. So if you did want to have chippy and you were painting unfinished wood, then you would need to look at the resist, the different items that create a resist that Miss Mustard Seed has in her milk paint line. And one of those is the wax puck. There's also hemp oil, there's beeswax. All of those are products that you could use on this. You would apply to your wood where you wanted some chippy, and then you would paint it with Miss Mustard Seed milk paint without bonding agent, and then the paint would chip off where you put the resist. So unfinished wood, no bonding agent. Then I'm going to show you this piece here. This is a really good example because this piece has a lot of different finishes in one piece, because what's happened is it's an old piece, the finish is worn off in a lot of places, and then in some places the finish is still really intact down here. So if you paint this piece with Miss Mustard Seed milk paint without a bonding agent, you are probably going to get a mixture on here. You're going to get it absorbing where there's no finish left on here. You're not going to have chippy areas there, but you're going to have chippy areas probably in some of these places where the finish is still on here really well. So this is a fun, something like this is a really fun thing to paint with the milk paint without bonding agent if you don't mind chipping. If you told me that you wanted to paint this but you didn't want any chipping with it, then I would tell you you definitely need to use bonding agent, but I also would tell you you probably need to sand this a little bit with some fine sandpaper, because this is a really rough surface because of the way it's kind of, damaged from elements and time and all that sort of thing. And if you're wanting a really smooth, beautiful finish with no chippy, you probably are going to want it to be smoother starting out than it is right now, because your finish is only going to be as good as what the surface that you're painting it on. So that would be the prep for this. If you didn't want any chipping at all, would be give it a light sanding and then use the bonding agent with your paint. Okay, and then I have these old shutters right here. These old shutters, the finish, they were finished, but there's not much finish left on them. In some places, some is completely off. In other places, there's still some. They definitely need to be cleaned up, and all of these pieces need to be cleaned before they're painted. I'm just using them, as an example for you. This piece, probably, if you paint it with milk paint without bonding agent, the paint is probably going to stick to it pretty well because it's not a shiny piece. The finish is pretty worn and it's pretty porous. but you may have a little bit of chipping, you may not. So if you're good with that, if that's the kind of look you're going for, then no bonding agent. Again, if you definitely don't want any chipping, then you would need to go ahead and use bonding agent in your paint when you paint this. Okay, now I have a couple of metal pieces here. Can you paint metal with Miss Mustard Seeds Milk Paint? Yes, you can. Do you need to use bonding agent? Yes, you do. The paint is not going to stick to metal on its own without bonding agent because it's not a porous surface. There's nothing for it to absorb into. So what you would do to paint metal with Miss Mustard Seeds Milk Paint is you would use bonding agent at full strength. So you would use equal parts of bonding agent and milk paint, and you would paint your metal. And when you do use bonding agent in your paint, you want to use it in every coat. So you don't just use it in the first coat, use it in every coat. Now I have another piece. Let me figure out what to do with this. Okay. I have another piece here, and this is a bar stool. Try to get it where you can see it. And it's got a pretty slick finish on it. Being a newer piece and having this really smooth, shiny finish on it, it's gonna need a little bit of prep work either way. If you're wanting a chippy paint finish to paint a piece like this that's pretty slick like this, the best thing you can do is use some fine sandpaper and give this piece a light sanding all over, and then you can use your milk paint without the bonding agent, and you should get pretty nice coverage but some chipping. So again, if you don't want any chipping, yes, you need to use bonding agent to paint a piece like this that's got such a slick finish on it. So I hope that that gives you an idea. I think I've used all my pieces here, but I hope that gives you a really good idea about how to decide whether you need to use bonding agent or not. You just need to ask yourself those two questions. What surface am I painting it on, and what look do I want? Do I want chippy or do I not want chippy? And that should help you determine whether or not you need to use bonding agent with your paint. So I hope this has been helpful to you. If it has, I'd appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button and help me grow my channel. I will be doing more videos. So thanks for being here.